So in today's video, I'm going to take a look at the SiteScout Chrome browser extension as it is depicted in this monetized video from the YouTube brand Algonquin Beyond, and further show how it can be used to score a campsite on what is otherwise a fully booked lake in Algonquin Provincial Park.
Now, this next chapter of the story is probably going to have some divided opinions, but I'm going to share it anyways. Shipigou Lake has 2 campsites, but the park only issues 1 permit for the lake. This means that Dan and I should be the only people camping on the lake, and we should get to choose which of the 2 campsites we want. But when I arrived to Shipigou Lake, I saw one of the campsites occupied. It was the nicer of the 2 as well. This meant one of 2 things. Either the people were breaking the rules and camping off permit, or there was an emergency that prevented them from continuing with their route. Either way, I wanted to find out what was going on. If they were breaking the rules, I'd ask them to leave the site. But if there was some sort of emergency, I'd want to offer my help and assistance. The 2 men admitted to intentionally camping off permit, and thankfully they packed up and left the campsite right away. Now, to clarify, I would never approach someone else's campsite unless it was a single permit lake, like in this scenario. This is the only way that you can know with 100% certainty that the group is off permit. Also, if they became defensive or confrontational in any way, I would have removed myself from the situation. I would not put myself into a potentially violent situation, especially in the backcountry. And most importantly, I also want to mention that sometimes it actually is okay to camp off permit. For example, if there's extreme weather, or if someone in your group gets sick or injured, if it's an actual emergency, you should always prioritize your own safety. Anyways, Dan finally caught up to me right after that whole ordeal.
So here is the Algonquin and Beyond monetized website, which is hosting the SiteScout extension. Here it is right here. What is SiteScout? Blah, 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 blah. SiteScout is a Google Chrome extension and is completely free. Here's the bit. SiteScout has partnered with Algonquin and Beyond to help streamline communication and to help identify any feature bugs that may arrive. To clarify, Algonquin and Beyond is not the developer of SiteScout. The developer is not an outdoorsman. The extension was created as a favor to the camping community, but ongoing maintenance of SiteScout is challenging since the developer is not active in the community and because it is a free extension. Algonquin and Beyond has offered to assist with certain aspects of the project. Well, that's just total nonsense. In fact, browser extensions that are hosted on the Google Chrome Web Store have, as you might expect from an outfit like Google, a fully implemented system for handling feedback from users and customers, and for the developers to issue updates which are then automatically rolled out to the users by Google Chrome. So here we can see the SiteScout browser extension as hosted on the Chrome Web Store. And there's a button, Add to Chrome. That's how simple it is. 1 click and it's installed. But to my previous point, the mechanism for user feedback is right here on the so-called support hub. Every browser extension product or any kind of app on the Chrome Web Store has this. And it's got the way to contact the developer, ratings. This is the pipeline for users to interact with the developer. And as a result, there is no reason for that functionality to appear on Algonquin and Beyond. So let's just go through the motions of getting the SiteScout extension from Algonquin and Beyond rather than directly from the Google Chrome Web Store. So I can click here. An email is requested. Why? Because SiteScout requires patching and needs to be reinstalled or updated. An email is required to communicate these changes. Okay. So now in my email inbox, I have received the following email from Algonquin and Beyond. Thanks for downloading SiteScout. The link below will take you to the Google Chrome Web Store in order to install the extension. But here's the fun part. By downloading the SiteScout extension, you have been added to Algonquin and Beyond's mailing list. Aha! So that is the scam. The guy's scamming email addresses for a mailing list. And, you know, if ostensibly he's only going to send me an email related to the SiteScout extension, then I can live with that. If, however, on the other hand, he's going to start spamming me for other reasons to try to drive traffic and clicks on his monetized website, that's the grift. So we'll see how this develops as I will monitor my inbox over the next few weeks and see what I receive, if anything, from Algonquin and Beyond. Alright, so let's take a look at how we can actually use the SiteScout extension to score a campsite in Algonquin Park when it looks like all campsites are fully booked. And it's really very simple. The SiteScout extension shows you a couple of extra pieces of information when you look at a reservation area. Now in Algonquin Park, remember that campsites are booked generally by lake or area, not as a single campsite. So take, for example, booking area number 10, Burnt Island Lake. What the Ontario Parks website shows you is simply that it's a maximum of 9 people per site. So basically, you know, a minimum amount of information. The SiteScout extension shows you a key additional piece of information. The total number of permits for that booking area. The key information is the total number of permits, 43. Because what you can then do is go look on any map of Algonquin Park and figure out the total number of campsites on Burnt Island Lake. And you will find the total number of campsites is greater than the total number of permits. Let's go do that now. The Algonquin Beyond monetized website also hosts the Jeff's map for no reason at all except to drive traffic and monetization. Because Jeff has his own website. He doesn't need the map to be hosted here at all. But I'm going to use this hosted map for a different purpose to demonstrate the use of SiteScout. So let's scroll down here and find Burnt Island Lake on the map. There it is there, Burnt Island Lake. Now you'll recall there were 43 permits that are issued for Burnt Island Lake at a maximum. Let's count the number of campsites on Burnt Island Lake. Starting at the bottom left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I'm jumping over here, 21, 22, 27, back, no, let's go up here, 28, 9, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we'll 5, 6, 7, pick those up, 38, 39, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 45, 6, 7, 8, 9, 50, 51. There are 51 total campsites on Burnt Island Lake. But as we've seen from the SiteScout extension, there are only 43 permits. That means on any given day when Burnt Island Lake appears to be fully booked and the Ontario Parks website will not let you book Burnt Island Lake, you can actually camp there, knowing full well there will be approximately 8 unoccupied campsites. That is the purpose of SiteScout, the extension. It serves no other purpose but to allow people to wingle and wangle their way through a heavily booked front country in Algonquin Park and camp on lakes that appear to be fully booked. But it's not just that. Let's go back to this page here and read this paragraph, "What is SiteScout?" a little more carefully. Check this out. Ontario Parks removed the ability to see campsite capacity and availability. SiteScout brought it back. So not only does this app allow you to wangle your way through a fully booked lake in the front country, it's actually contravening or working against the intention, the objective of Ontario Parks. They didn't want customers to be able to see that for whatever reason, and that's their prerogative. If they don't want to expose that information, then it should remain hidden. And SiteScout is circumventing and working around and generally monkey wrenching the intentions of Ontario Parks in terms of how it governs, regulates, and operates a busy and popular park like Algonquin. Let's get back to this video then for a minute. The problem here, the essential hypocrisy of this video, is that on the one hand, Algonquin Beyond has unilaterally taken it upon himself to go out there and confront people who are camping off permit and enforce the rules on behalf of the park. Yet at the same time, Algonquin Beyond hosts on his monetized website an app which does nothing but facilitate people who want to camp off permit. These two things cannot exist at the same time without being hypocritical. Okay, well, so just a couple of weeks ago, I finally figured out the deal with SiteScout. I downloaded it and used it to plan a trip through a fully booked lake in the front country of Algonquin Park, which had buffer sites which I could clearly see on SiteScout. Clydagale Lake was fully booked for my trip there. It has 4 permitted sites and 2 buffer sites. And when I did that, I also decided to call out Algonquin and Beyond with this comment here. Why do you host the SiteScout app on your monetized website? I've only just tried it myself, and I've found that I can now book a route through a fully booked lake. After all, I just make a dummy booking on a nearby available lake, which I won't actually use. This is only possible with the SiteScout app. So I call the guy out here with this comment, which he invited, by openly stating proactively and preemptively that his opinion might be controversial.
Now, this next chapter of the story is probably going to have some divided opinions, but I'm going to share it anyways.
If you're going to admit that, which is a decent thing to do, at least initially, then you must accept the controversy that might arise. You're inviting it, you must own it. You must answer the comments as they come in. And I offered the only comment that was controversial. So there it is. The comment appears in my YouTube. I'm logged in here. Let's log out of YouTube and reload this page. Okay, so I'm going to have to reload. Here it is here, the treacherous Tim. And where's my comment? There it is here. Now, look here. My response to this comment here has been hidden by Algonquin and Beyond. It does not show. So let's just think about that for a minute. We've got Algonquin and Beyond running around the backcountry, policing the rules on behalf of the park, and then making monetized videos out of that, which earn him like literally nickels and dimes. And this man is not getting rich from these videos, but nonetheless, nickels and dimes. And in addition, he invites comment on what may be a controversial opinion. He invites that, and then he doesn't have the balls to stand behind that invitation, and he hides my comment. What can you do with people like that? Really, you can't do much. But I made a little video. That's what I did.